my goodness! Yeah! Holy sh!
Hey there, jerk-offs. Today we're going to work on this, and when I say we, I mean me. You're feel free to sit there and munch on your bag of Cheetos and watch. I got this. Anyway, this is a 1983 Kawasaki KZ1100. I've been working on this thing, I don't know, 3 or 4 years on and off. I thought I was going to get to ride this thing last weekend. Need to pull the carbs off today. I had them sent off last summer. I had a guy rebuild them, and the thing ran great, but it wasn't ready to ride last fall. So yeah, it's sad. I ran it till the carbs ran dry. I thought that'd be good enough, but apparently not. When I tried to turn on the fuel a few days ago, all 4 of them were flooding, running out the air filters, and managed to tap on them, get 3 of them to stop doing that. But yeah, it wouldn't. The only way it'd run was with the choke fully pulled open. You couldn't throttle it up. You turned the choke off, it would die. So yeah, apparently I should have done a better job of draining them carbs before I put it away for the winter. There's my proudest accomplishment. Yeah, that gas tank, that is an oil pan from a 460. The theme of it was kind of a apocalyptic rat rod kind of bike. Kind of not real sure about the headlight guards. I originally wanted a Honda Nighthawk, like a mid-90s, but this kind of showed up at a local swap meet and the price was right, and it had all the features that the Honda had: shaft drive, disc brakes, and yeah, I bought it. I was out here doing some welding on some shooting targets and had a little time before I got to go inside. So let's see if we can get these carbs pulled off and open them up, see what the hell's going on inside there. Gas tank is an interesting story. The prices of them used to be so. Well, and that thing was huge. Okay, I spared you the boredom of watching me pull all these tiny little bolts out of the float bowls, but actually things are really clean in here. That crud, it looks like crud, it's actually just kind of stains. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really finding anything major wrong. Everything looks really clean. I'm going to hose her all out with carb cleaner and blow it out. The diaphragms are working. They're sealed. But what I did find, look at that. There's the vents. You can't really see this one. Yeah, there you can see it. I can feel it in there. Here in the Midwest, we have these little bugs. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, they'll find little hoses or holes, like holes in a engine block or something, and they'll get in there and they'll build a little nest and plug that up. I find that really pretty often on my buggy here. I run a propane setup on it, and you have to vent this right here. It has to be vented the atmosphere. I have a hose on it, you have to keep it from sucking in water, but yes, it's not unusual to find that. If it won't start, I'll check that hose, and yeah, it's got a bug nest in it. Doesn't right now. I don't know how big of an effect that bug nest would have in these vents, and I don't know why that would make them flood. But yeah, I'll clean those out, clean out the carbs, blow them out, put them on there, try them again. If the carbs cleaned out, put them on, see what happens. I did set the floats down a little bit more. See if that makes a difference or not. Decided to drain the tank too. I'm going to put some fresh 91 octane non-ethanol in it. Unfortunately, I forgot to get some yesterday. Might just have to rob some out of the Mustang. piece of fuel line's kinked up. I have to find a little heavier duty piece of that. Those bug nests I showed you in my carb vents yesterday, yeah, I found a piece of fuel line. There. I got in both ends of that. You know, ain't focusing. There we go. I blew the little nest out of the fuel line. This is what come out. Bunch of pulp and eggs and I don't know what all. Steve! Buddy! How you doing? Ready for some kibble? Alright, let's see if we can get some gas out of this thing. Yeah! Okay. Oh yeah. Sweet non-alcohol, 91 octane goodness. Thank you. Steve! Back for more kibble. I just got to show off my gas tank. I'm pretty proud of that. As I don't know if I said before, it's a front sump oil pan from a Ford 460 engine. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do for a tank for this. And the bike was sitting around, yeah, with nothing on top. I was working on my Mustang in there one day, and I was walking by with an oil pan. I just needed a place to set it down real quick. And I set it down on the bike, not like this. I just kind of set it down, started walking away, and it's like, yeah, the little light bulb came slowly buzzing on in my head. So I walked back and, yeah, flipped it. It was a 351 Windsor pan, but yeah, I flipped it up and stuck it in there. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking neat. So I went with the 460, obviously, for more capacity. The filler neck here is like from a, I don't know, late 80s Ford truck. It's welded on the inside. I added the ring here just for looks. The original drain pan plug, it's all welded up to seal. Kept the rail, yeah, just left it all ratty looking. Let's see if she'll fire up. Turn on the fuel. She's flowing. See if she starts leaking. Like I said, I set the floats a little higher, so maybe that'll fix the flooding issue. Okay, no leaks. It's a good start. I'm gonna go set the camera back up and see what happens. A lot better. probably noticed I stuck the muffler on there. I kind of like the sound of it with the muffler, but unfortunately before I came across that exhaust system at a swap meet, and when I tore the bike apart to build it, there was this big aluminum plate back here. It had the pegs for the passengers, and it also had the tab for holding the muffler up. But yeah, like I said, before I found that exhaust system, I went and trimmed that plate down. So I need to find another one of those. I'm going to run that muffler because it's not really a lot of options to try to bolt that on there. So. Clutch cable popped off. Okay, it's been a couple weeks now. Been a little busy with lawnmower problems and leaking roofs and whatnot. Did go get my plate. After my little test drive last time, thought it felt like, yeah, it was a little sluggish. I always kind of thought that this rear brake was dragging. So yeah, I looked into that, and sure enough it was. Just corrosion from sitting. I don't know how long this bike sat before I got it. I just went ahead and took it apart, took the caliper off, popped the piston out, cleaned it all up. There was a couple pits in the piston. Doesn't seem to be leaking though, so it must not be on the spot, but could use some pads. But yeah, I threw it all together just to see if it worked, and yeah, it's working great now. I mean, before with it, when you'd try to like stop and roll backwards with your feet, you just couldn't do it. You had to get off the bike and really lean into it. So yeah, now it pushes nice and easy. Tonight, took a night off work to get some stuff done. One of the things I'm doing is building a mud mower here. Got the transaxle tore apart, welding up the diff. That's for another time. But while that's cooling off, I decided I'd make a license plate mount. Okay, so as I started building the stuff, I got the idea that a muffler clamp would be so much simpler. And it looks ratty too. Did take it out for a ride tonight. Wanted to try out the LED headlights. First I wasn't even too impressed with them. Had a pair of safety glasses on. Finally come to realize that was the problem. Those safety glasses were shaded a little bit, so took them off and yeah, she's fine. Even on low beam, I'm running a set of these on my Mustang. And yeah, even on low beam, they are very bright. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get some riding in tomorrow a little bit. Try it out in the daylight. Okay, so I've been riding this for about a month now. Thought I'd give you a little update on any problems and concerns. Biggest problem I'm having is with these grips. Yeah, I can't describe how terrible they are, how they fatigue my hands so quickly. Obviously, I wrapped these in paracord to try to make a difference. This is the best I've found so far. What I did the first time was I put 3 wraps on it, and that was kind of thick, and then I went and redid it with 2 wraps and left this bare right here. It gives my hand, the webbing right there, a place to go. Seems like this, and I've tried various pairs of gloves and whatnot, and it's yeah, wrapped like this, and my bare hands has been the best so far, but still not great. I got a set of grips ordered at the local motorcycle dealer. I need to go pick those up here before he sends those back. Another problem I would have, and I don't know if maybe this might be a contributing factor with the grips. I mean, obviously there's probably some vibration going on there, but the thing really wanders all over the road. It's not wander like white knuckle. It just, I mean, it just wants to wander all over the lane. I don't have any trouble keeping it in the lane, but yeah, if I'd ride along though and I'd like peek up here and look at the front tire, you could, you know, obviously while you're going down the road, you can see the tire, you know, had a little bit of wobble to it. I'm wondering if that was part of the problem. This isn't the tire I had on it originally. I had a motocross knobby on it there, so I forgot I even had this tire. So I went in and threw that on yesterday while I had it here in the shop. And yeah, this is an old tire. I picked it up at a swap meet like I do everything else, but it is a Goodyear sports stud, which I'm guessing was really popular for ice racing or something. Maybe that's why they call it a sports stud. But yeah, when I picked this up at a swap meet, it had another street bike tire with just the tread area cut off and packed inside here. And you can see where, if you look at these blocks, that it's right there. You can see where obviously someone's had some studs in them, possibly for ice racing. But yeah, this tells you how old this tire is. It's measured in, where was it? I don't know, it's like a, yeah, I don't know if you can read that. 400 by 19. I mean, it doesn't seem to be showing any dry rot, but you know, that's a vintage tire. So I thought, you know, a vintage tire of unknown age, plus it possibly has cord damage from having screws run through it. What better place for it than on a motorcycle, and on the front at that. Yeah, we'll give it a shot, see what happens. Let's see what else. Yeah, the first couple of days I had it going, it started running funny, and I was always constantly messing around with the idle screws. Oh, there's only one screw that controls all 4 carbs. And it took me a couple days to notice, besides the idle issue, when I throttle up real hard before the engine was really warmed up, it would just kind of, I wouldn't say it laid over or was dead, it was lacking a lot. And I was pissing around with it one day and I noticed each carburetor has a vacuum. Yeah, that's really on there. Has a little spot for a vacuum cap. 2 of them were missing. And I have noticed that, yeah, when you first crank this over, when it's cold, the engine, you can hear it kind of a little backfire in there somewhere. I don't know why it does it, but yeah, the little caps were like that, and it blew 2 of them off. So instead of going to the parts store and buying them, I thought, since how this is a apocalyptic bike, what would you do in the apocalypse? You wouldn't go to the parts store, obviously. So I just, took some vacuum line that I had, put a screw in them. I thought, yeah, it works. And they do seem to be tighter than the caps that were on there. I should probably do all 4, but yeah, that fixed the problem. It's running good now. Only other thing, this oil cooler that I have mounted right there, when you're going down the road and your leg is up, it doesn't bother you. But yeah, you pull up, if it's a really hot day, you pull up to an intersection, put your feet down. Yeah, sure, my pants are up against it, but yeah, if that's up against you for a few seconds, you start feeling it. It doesn't burn you, but it's definitely uncomfortable. I just went ahead and made my own mounting bracket, and what I did, I tied it into the bolts that hold on to the slave cylinder. Yeah, that'd be the slave cylinder. And I just very carefully used a caliper and measured there were some, you can still see there's some there, that aluminum casting, where there's like a embossment, a ledge, a lip, a ridge, whatever you want to call it. I just took a careful grinding wheel and subtracted the width of that plate that I cut out. Yeah, I got that exhaust on there. Yeah, that's a huge difference. And like I said, I do like the sound of it with the exhaust better. During the apocalypse and you're on a bike like this, you'd want it to be quiet anyway. Whether you're hunting somebody or think somebody's hunting you, you'd want to keep as quiet as you could. But obviously it's tore apart right now. The reason it's in here is a couple days ago it started cranking hard. And I thought maybe the charging system wasn't working, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And I came up with, I was kind of getting diagnosing, and I thought it had just a bad cable, but yeah, the more I mess with it, I think I just have a bad battery. Here in the next couple days, yeah, I'll try to get the motorcycle dealer, get some new grips for it, and see if they can set me up with a battery that isn't outrageously expensive. Because yeah, I really want to ride this, get to riding this again. The amount of, I don't have a lot of money in it, but enough, and yeah, the effort, I want to ride it till the weather gets cold enough and start saving some money on gas. Here's the cute cat having some kibble. Well, as you can tell, fall is here. Thought I'd better do a little finish up on this, give it a little closure on it. Been riding it now with the new grips and the battery and whatnot. I'm pretty satisfied with it for the most part. The grips have helped a lot. I think probably what would also help when I built these handlebars, these were the original handlebars. I just kind of cut them down. Looking back now, I should have maybe swept them back just a little bit, just put a little bit of cant on them. But anyway, I guess I haven't really went over this in detail about what I did. Let's start at the front. The brakes are original, the forks are original. I did rebuild it. Obviously the 19-inch knobby, old military canteen. I'm happy with the headlight guard now. The headlights were just standard 7-inch LEDs that you'd use for any older vehicles that take a round 7-inch headlight. I did make my own mounts for them, so they don't have to fit in a headlight bucket. Yeah, there's the headlight switch, just that. The speedometer was something I got from, yeah, not surprisingly, a swap meet. Guy had a whole bucket full of these. I think I paid a couple bucks for it. Oddly enough, the cable fit it perfectly, which I guess shouldn't surprise me because it's a Japanese speedometer. Nippon Sekai, however the hell that's pronounced. The front brakes, the master cylinder's off like an early 80s VFR 750 because the KawROnsaki one was trash. Front brakes could be a lot better. But, I'm not really using any electrics from up here other than the high beam switch. Yeah, that's a little sloppy. Obviously we've talked about the gas tank and the frame modifications. Moving on down, there was a cover here, but I kind of like the look of it without it. It gives it a more rugged look. Right there's the brain box. There's the charging system. What do you call that? The regulator rectifier. I just made a plate out of an old chunk of running board to mount them on. Put them out in the open, get better airflow. Those pod filters, they're pretty dusty. I live on gravel roads, so yeah, this whole thing is nasty looking, which kind of fits the image. Yeah, the shocks are the stock ones. The rear fender, that's the fender from the bike. It's just been trimmed down and then sucked into the bodywork. As you can see, I cut the back of the frame off to bob it. Tail light was, yeah, another swap meet thing. I think I paid $1 out of that for a box. And it's just welded to the frame. And then I've got this pigtail from an old, I don't know, early 80s, who knows what, just glued into it. Yeah, I got quite a few oil leaks, which again doesn't bother me so much. It kind of fits the image of the apocalyptic road warrior kind of a thing. The oil cooler, I just mounted that there to kind of hide the battery a little bit. It was originally up here in the front of the frame. Yeah, the battery, it's hidden in there. I had to make the mounts for it. Yeah, there's another oil leak with the rear shocks. About the only oil leak that's really bothering me. Yeah, you can see it on this side too. Back when I was building the bike, I had the engine completely out of the frame. And yeah, this was just scuzzy and nasty, and I cleaned it all up, and I priced a new Kawasaki gasket, and it was horrifyingly expensive. So I just cut out a gasket, but yeah, apparently that ain't working. Maybe next spring before I take it out for riding, I'll pull that timing chain cover off again and try some sort of an high temperature RTV. Am I scaring you? Owie, owie, owie. Okay folks, I did have some more footage done on a GoPro, but due to an unfortunate loss of the SD card, looks like the bulk of what you're going to get is just me putzing around in a gas mask. I'd like to apologize for the amateur quality of the editing of this, but this is my first video. I'd like you to picture the scene from Joe Dirt when he's working on the oil rig and he's screaming, "I'm new! I don't know what I'm doing!" Yeah, that's how I feel. Let's leave with a big finish here. A nice gratuitous conversion of gasoline to tire smoke. I'd like to thank you again for watching.